I think anyone working in education today would agree that technology is having a profound impact on the entire learning environment and experience. When I started teaching at my school 5 years ago, I remember having many staff meeting conversations about whether or not students should be bringing cell phones to school. In the past year, that conversation has shifted dramatically. We now accept cell phones in school, and we're now considering the fact that we'd like to provide technology for every student in the school, but we simply can't afford to. And I'm sure our school isn't alone in this problem. How are we going to provide the necessary resources, computers, to be able to access the incredible wealth of information that's available online? We know we can't afford to provide that technology to all of our students. So one of the possibilities that we're considering now is simply to allow students and teachers to bring in their own technology. There are a number of advantages and disadvantages to a bring your own device program. We're all looking for ways to increase student engagement and to find new ways for students to be able to collaborate in our learning environments. And technology is an excellent tool for doing that. There are also the cost savings to consider. We simply can't afford to provide enough netbook carts, enough laptops, and enough technology for all of the students in our school. We have 2,000 students. So if we can ask students and staff to bring their own technology, we will see some immediate cost savings. One of the principal concerns that our school has, and it's one that most institutions would have when implementing a BYOD program, is how are we going to accommodate those students whose families simply can't afford to provide technology for them. We can't have those students not be a part of a technology-rich environment. They need to have access to a device even if they can't afford it. And then simply having the technology in the classroom isn't going to necessarily make the learning environment any more effective. Teachers are going to need training and support, particularly teachers who have been practicing for many years, who might not be savvy at finding ways to effectively integrate the technology into their daily teaching practices. There's also the demands that are going to be placed on the IT staff within the school and the school's existing infrastructure. For instance, does our Wi-Fi network have the capacity to adequately provide access to that many devices? And then how are we going to monitor students and teachers' activity with all of these different devices? We know that teaching online and digital citizenship is critical. We've seen many examples in recent weeks even of cases of extreme cyberbullying that we can imagine could potentially only get worse if we have more devices and more online access within schools. How can we teach students to use the technology in an appropriate and a responsible manner while they're at school and while they're away from school? Beyond simply having access to the technology within our school, we need to consider whether or not our existing technological acceptable use policy is adequate enough to address all of the complexities of having an entire school full of devices. How are we going to be able to monitor and enforce appropriate behavior for everyone using these devices? We really hope that the information we provide in this week's presentation will help you as you begin to engage potentially in some conversations within your own learning environment about whether or not a BYOD program is appropriate. We hope that by the end of the week, you'll have a better sense of the potential advantages and disadvantages of a BYOD program, how you're going to be able to support students and staff as they begin to bring their own technology into the learning environment, and whether or not the existing policies around the use of technology within your learning environment are adequate enough to address the growing demands of a BYOD program.